There are family farms right here in Michiana that have stood the test of time, only to suffer a difficult loss that's hard to explain. 16 News now investigates a series of barn fires, digging deeper as multiple agencies work together to determine could they have been set on purpose, and if so, why?
For the past century, this stately structure stood as a landmark legacy to the Eby family farm, and yet it only took seconds to go up in flames. It's one of 7 barn fires across 3 counties, all being investigated by the state fire marshal's office. It started in April when a barn went up in flames in Foraker on the 13th. 2 more fires hit along the edge of Elkhart and Kosciuszko counties that month, leaving local agencies to connect the dots. By the time Gary Eby's farm was hit the night of May 3rd, he was already aware of a possible arsonist in the community.
I think somebody drove by and set the place on fire. There's no question about it.
Eby told 16 News Now at the time that almost everything in the barn burned, including several items that he cherished.
My dad, when he was a kid, they took an old buggy and cut the wheels down and made a pony wagon, and that was in there. I really hated to lose that, but hey, it's gone.
While crews put out the fire at Eby's farm,
oh, there it went.
The second blaze was leveling another barn just down the road.
And I think I just dropped to my knees and just started crying.
Debbie Schmidt and her husband were restoring their family's barn when they lost it and the valuables inside. But to her, it means even more.
It just is gut-wrenching. And those personal items are gone. The memories will always be there.
Before the barns on the Eby and Schmidt properties burned down, this beautiful 100-year barn fell victim to what officials are calling a suspicious fire. Located in Milford, it has been in the Jackson family for 3 generations. They were planning to use it as a horse barn for their granddaughter one day, but then in late April, it was gone. This is what's left of the Jackson family barn after it burned down right in the middle of farming season. They lost equipment that was stored inside, like a 1955 Ford tractor they were planning to restore. But more than that, this is where irreplaceable memories were made during family reunions. Now, a total loss. The Jackson family says anyone in the area with an old barn is running scared right now, staying up later and patrolling the roads a little bit more. In Kosciuszko County, 2 more barns were hit on June 10th. The first seen in this picture shared to Facebook after a call came in around 11 at night for a fire just south of Napanee. 20 minutes later, and less than 2 miles up the road, Mike Mast woke up to find his barn also on fire.
You can see the flame. It was about at least 3-4 feet up the air, from the roof.
But he wasn't as surprised by the fire as you may think.
I figured one of these times that the guy will hit us down the road, but I didn't think it'd be this quick. The barn's close to the road. The guy had been targeting the barns that are close to the road, seemed like.
Like Mast, other affected families can't help but notice a pattern.
It was around 11 o'clock at night, a couple miles apart, and Kosciuszko's, ironically, 11 o'clock at night, a couple miles apart. I'm not to judge, but there's an awful similarity there.
But is an arsonist really to blame? It's still too soon to say. So far, fire agencies have deemed the fires suspicious. The Kosciuszko County Sheriff's Office is investigating them as arson and partnering with Elkhart and St. Joseph counties.
They've had a couple suspicious fires up there, so we have teamed up with the 2 sheriff's offices, and the detective bureaus are actively looking into this.
The New Paris Fire Department tells me they can't comment on the cause of the fires, but are warning people to watch out for suspicious activity. Kosciuszko County Sheriff Dukes has a similar message.
If you see a vehicle parked, if you see a vehicle that is acting suspiciously, if your gut tells you something's wrong, please call our dispatch center, report it.
Those who have already experienced loss on their properties are convinced that someone is behind this.
There were enough barn fires in the area that if this was arson, he wasn't going to stop. He, she, them, I don't know who, was not going to stop until they were caught. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened.
But Schmidt says it needs to stop before someone gets hurt.
You will slip up, I hope it's not at the expense of people, animals, somebody getting injured.
A sad end for these symbols of family strength and perseverance.
I look around at so many barns and the history that they show, and they have so many stories to tell. And the sad part is, for the person that's doing this, there must not be a good story in their memory for them to want to burn these barns down.
These 7 barn fires remain under investigation, so the official cause for each blaze has not been made public at the time of this report. But if you have any information on these suspicious fires, you can call the state of Indiana's arson hotline at the number on your screen. We'll continue following the investigations and keep you updated on any new information that's released. For 16 News Now Investigates, I'm Carly Luca.